Hey, David here. So, normally you would see the video on demand from the stream of Conquest. As it turned out, however, when I was watching the VOD myself, was that I kinda messed up the stream. So basically two things happened. The first thing is I was not properly paying attention to the audio mix regarding my own voice and the game, especially when you are inside a dungeon. And so the game audio was really loud at times, up to the point that I was fairly hard to understand it sometimes. And the other thing was there was a certain graphic setting I was doing at the beginning of the stream, and I was not aware that it was actually cutting off the bottom of the game. So yeah, after some thinking, I decided this is a state I don't want to hand over to the developer for the review. So I decided that I will do an exception and do an off-stream recording of Conquest, where I will summarize all my talking points so that the developer actually has like an actual decent video to analyze and watch upon. I will still in the description link to the actual VOD, but I won't make it public. It's basically just a private link, so if people are still interested looking there, then they can still do that. That being said, this video still will be probably quite lengthy, maybe like about an hour. Like I have 40 to 45 talking points still, so yeah. And as always, if I don't know. So as always, I might be a little bit more nitpicky here, and this is not because I think the game is bad, but because I want to give as much feedback as possible. Also, if sometimes I look into the left side, even though there is no chat this time, it is still because I have a long list of talking points. I have to check that I can be sure that I have talked about everything. So, with that said, let's start the game. This is my stream save file that I haven't deleted yet. We will actually start with a new game, but before we do that, there is actually something we can already talk about here. And this is that we have... Oh wow, now it's even fancier. So basically the hovering effects of the save slots are a bit wonky. You can easily recreate the situation where new game is highlighted for one slot, but the yellow border is highlighted for another save slot. And right now, this is actually the first time I'm even able to have two yellow borders, so that's actually a first for me. I was not able to do that on stream. Yeah. Interesting. Something else, this is something I will mention at several points, is we have some buttons that have a click and hold functionality, so that you are really sure that you want to do that. And this generally is fine. However, the thing that irks me a bit is the actual bar that is filling up. In my opinion, it should be transparent. Right now, for lack of better words, it looks kinda cheap. So yeah, it should more be like a transparent effect. I don't like the looks of it right now. Okay, so let's start with a new game. Welcome to Conquest. This game primarily involves moving a character around. By default, you do this by pointing and clicking. However, you can change this to just needing to point and not click, except in the hub area. Why the game is designed with using your mouse cursor in mind, you can also move your character with WSD and arrow keys on your keyboard, and even use a controller. However, menu navigation still requires a mouse cursor. There's a lot of stuff you can toggle the settings menu. You can almost always access it by pressing the escape key on your keyboard. Good luck and have fun. So this was also something that was already mentioned on the main menu, like if you remember, there was down below a text that said this game is primarily intended to be played with the mouse. Because of that, I would actually, in that kind of introductory box, actually also notify that you have that pause button here, which is another way to access the setting menu and some other stuff as well. Because this would be the mouse way of doing it. Like, you're talking about that this game is primarily made with pure mouse movement in mind, and then you are not explaining how to access the settings with the mouse. So, yeah. Okay, so this arrow is just for the very beginning, and before we actually enter the mountain, we will actually go back right to the title again. No, there's something I have to show beforehand, because otherwise you don't have the beforehand and the after effect. And no, I actually need to completely restart the game for that. So, okay. Basically, usually, if you're hovering over stuff here, like, you might already hear it in the background, there is like some sort of an additional noise. And this is usually because every one of these options has a tooltip. If you are going out of a save file and entering it again, then these tooltips don't appear anymore at all. So, unless you are completely restarted the game, which we are not going to do here. So, and because I was setting up stuff, I was already entering stuff, and yeah. Now we already have that setting problem. We will talk about the settings in a hot minute. There's actually something else I want to show, because now we have a new save file. When we go back here to the save slots, then we see that these buttons are not on the same height as the slot buttons, which is because we don't have a completion of a floor yet. I personally am not a fan of it. I think it looks a bit messy if it is not on the same height. What I would suggest is that even if you don't have completed a floor yet, these buttons are on the height where slot 1 currently is. So yeah, with that, let's go back here, and we can talk about a lot of stuff in the settings. So something that was already mentioned in the settings is there is a lot of stuff to customize, and they were absolutely not kidding. Like, you can do a lot. Like, you have all these audio options, you have all these display and graphic options. It's actually kind of impressive, and as a matter of fact, can even be a little bit overwhelming. Like, there might be ways so it is like even more separated, so you can access stuff easier and stuff like that. Like, especially if I want to do something for the particles, I have to scroll all the way down here right now to access that. So stuff you can do here is, instead of just having the general button, which includes not only graphic stuff but also controls, you can split it up into general graphics. That would already be a splitter. Or something else is that for the different categories, these are not shown immediately, like all options, but instead are like drop-down menus. So you are opening up and then you have all the stuff. And this way, like if you have controls, display, split effects, particles, then I can just easily open up particles and write at the stuff I want to have. It is technically another click though, which is, for my user experience, a bit iffy, and it's alright, to be fair. Other stuff we have in the settings, like there's really quite a bit to talk about here. If we are going here, like something you notice is we have some sort of an automatic scroll down at certain places, but it's not really properly working well. It's super weird. Yeah, this is something that has to be investigated. Like, the intention is probably that you have a way to just scroll down without using your mouse wheel, but this is not working properly right now. Okay, what else do we have? We have the scroll bar here with the white line. There is simply a space missing, some spacing missing, and it looks kind of jank. We have also a similar problem with the buttons itself. Like with all these checkmark buttons, as you can see, we have a white line for the outer box and a white line for the actual checkbox. If you're hovering over something, it actually looks fine. But for non-hovered buttons, like if you look at allow D-pad movement, for example, then the upper lines are really, really close together again, and these need some additional spacing. There's also a very specific option I want to talk about a bit, and this is the player outline thickness. So, like, if we look here, you can see we have these white lining here, and you can actually configure the thickness of that, so you can possibly easier recognize where your character is. Cool feature to have. I just think that the current options are a bit overkill. Like, if we look at 4 pixel, this is still fine, but this is already like the maximum I would go. And if we go for for the whole 8 pixels, yeah, I mean, honestly, this kind of just looks ridiculous at this point. So, yeah, I don't know if you need the full 8 pixels here. I think 4 pixels is enough. On the other hand, like, there is no real harm just keeping it like this in the settings right now. I mean, by default, it's on 1 pixel, and that is completely fine, and there's nothing to worry about that. So, why even bother about that? Changing it, you know? So there's something later on where I will mention that as well, because it is actively hiding certain things even. Okay, so just let me check. Have I talked about everything? Tooltips, yes. The options, the automatic scroll, thickness, spacing. Yes, we have talked about all of that as well. So we can actually start going into our first one. We have different stuff here. I can quickly show the die drop because there's nothing really to talk about here. So we don't forget. Let's take another kind of cool that we can do that. For all the other options, we will talk about when they are becoming relevant. So let's challenge the mountain. I want to keep in mind that it is explicitly saying mountain. We will talk about that in later, why I think this is actually problematic. So, okay, we have different floors to select and different difficulties. Right now we only have floor 1 normal. So we can start that, and we actually can have 2 different types here. We can either choose it to play manually, so that with mouse or keyboard or something like that, or it will just automatically play for us, because this game does have an idle aspect to it. And yeah, we will go for the automatic mode for a few runs, because it makes it kind of easy to explain stuff along the way. So yeah, that's really convenient. Let's go for that. Okay. Tutorials are boring, so I only explain a few things. You gradually lose health over time. There's no way to stop or slow this. If you're having a hard time, spend your resources in the hub. If you don't like clicking the move, check out the settings menu. Here you can press escape on your keyboard to access it. Again, here you can also mention the pause button again. Let's go. Okay, so this is basically more or less like similar to a Vampire Survivors game. How the actual gameplay is. Like, we have a bazillion minions that are coming towards us, and we try to defeat them. We try to defeat as many as possible, as fast as possible. The AI for the auto mode is actually fairly solid, I would say. Like, there are situations where the AI might get stuck. It is basically when you have multiple enemies coming from different sides simultaneously, and then it can't really decide where to go, and therefore will just dawdle around on one place. There's also another thing that might get optimized, but this requires a specific item we don't have yet. So, what else is to talk about here? We have that white circle around our character. And this is... Oh my god, the character is almost dead. This is basically the attack cooldown we have. I think if it is getting really, really cloudy, it is actually kind of hard to notice what your actual cooldown is. It doesn't matter that much for the game, to my experience, as of now. But there might be some people that want to have all the information as visible as possible. And therefore, there might be food for thought doing some sort of like a stamina bar on the lower side of the screen that is easily visible instead of having that circle. So, yeah, we have died once. You've been defeated. Here's some advice. This is the last tutorial, I promise. If you have some coins, you should upgrade your equipment. I recommend upgrading your weapon first. Now you're on your own. Good luck. Before I click on that button, I want you to pay attention to where I'm showing with the mouse right now. We only have a few seconds for that, so let's go. It should appear in a sec. Here, we try in 3, 2, 1, go. When we are in auto mode, then the game restarts after a few seconds and is doing a new one, which in itself is actually a great feature for an idle game, so nothing to complain about that. I just don't know if 5 seconds is optimal for everyone. So, like, you basically have 2 interests that are clashing there. Like, you have the one interest on the other side, on the one side, that you want to do as many runs as possible with the least amount of delay. And this is speaking for a relatively short time of 5 seconds. But sometimes you might have the situation, especially in the beginning, where you still want to see everything that what you got, like all the experience, what your challenges are, and stuff like that. And then you are still in the process of reading stuff and thinking about stuff. And then the next one already starts, and all the stuff you wanted to read about is gone. So if we are already doing such a heavy amount of customization, I think one possible customization that is possible is configuring like at least 2 options of a retry time. So like either 5 seconds or 15 seconds, so that people that want to read about more stuff actually have the time to read about more stuff. Another thing we have is the challenges down here. So these, oh my god, yeah, this is what I mean with the getting stuck. So we are basically more or less instantly dead right now. Yeah. No, we're short here. So yeah, happens. I mean, we are super weak anyway, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, challenges. These are transparent here, and because they are transparent, they are actually initially fairly hard to notice. Being transparent, of course, is nice because it obstructs the game screen less. But I think this also is like a case where you can go for 2 configurations, like a transparent thing and where it is clearly visible on the other side. Also, something you're noticing here is you have that big fat auto over there with enemies remaining. And if we go to the lower side, then we get an additional explanation for the auto mode again. And I'm completely fine with the explanation in itself, I just don't know if it actually needs to trigger to be shown across the entire lower screen. Like maybe it might be enough to just have a box around here where it is then shown, but it is not shown when I'm like with the mouse over here, and that was some weird mouse stuff for whatever reason. So yeah, something I really like about the game, by the way, is especially for the dungeon music. For the dungeons is the music. I'm someone who can get enthusiastic about music really, really easily, and yeah, I'm really liking it. It's a good pop. Something I would wish, by the way, is like if we are in automatic mode or manual mode, that we have some sort of way switching between both modes, or at the very least going from automatic into manual. So like right now, I have absolutely no way to interact anymore. And like there might be situations where I'm fine with going automatic, but then there is like a recipe appearing, and I really, really want to make sure I get that recipe. And then giving me the possibility to opt into manual mode from there on might actually be kind of nice. Like I don't know if you want to do it the other way. Might be some sort of a key toggle then, but yeah, this might be something worth thinking about. So, something I wanted to mention again was the thickness. Let me put the thickness to 8 now. So, because the outline is so thick now, the attack cooldown is basically impossible to see. Like, we only see some corners here, 1 corners, and that's it. Nothing else. So the attack cooldown functionality at this point is essentially useless. Okay, we go back to 1 pixel then. So I think with that, we actually have talked about everything I wanted to initially talk about the dungeoneering. There will be some more talk later on, but for now, let's go back to the hub. And let's talk about some of the stuff we have here. So, first things first, let's go to the chopper. We found only 1 recipe, unfortunately. That's sad. So we only found the wood sword. I mean, we were weak, so it's fine. We can upgrade a bit though. Yeah. So let's go for 2 upgrades for the wood sword. Something that's interesting about weapons in this game is that they share certain stats. This is not immediately clear. Like, I think it was like, yeah, when you go over weapon damage, then you get the information that certain stats are, that this is shared. And I think you have, like, when you go here, then you have these milestone bonuses that are also shared bonuses across all weapons. That's a cool feature because it means you can more easily switch between different weapons because you are not really losing that much switching to a weapon that is not as upgraded yet, because the a certain floor of damage basically and certain effects are still there. So I'm liking that. Nonetheless, I still would wish if it would be easier to compare to weapons. Like right now, let's go to a dagger here. Let me show what the dagger does. I can't hover over here. So basically, if I want to compare to weapons, I have to go here, I have to click here, then I have to go here, look at the stuff. Okay, what was the dagger again, and so on. So either make it so at the very least that the equipped weapon shows its own tooltip as well, or even better that when I'm hovering over another weapon here, that then on the right side I have the tooltip for the currently equipped weapon. Same would apply to equipment, of course. Okay, I want to go to the wood saw because it's a bit more reliable for the automatic option. Something that was mentioned in one of the tutorials, like at the very beginning, was, hey, we don't need that many tutorials, so here's just a quick rundown. I'm fine with that take, keeping it simple and not overwhelming the player with tutorials, especially in this kind of game where a lot of things are honestly fairly intuitive. Nonetheless, I think like for the different shops also and so on, and the skill tree and the exchange, you can at the very least implement like some sort of a question mark where you can opt in doing another tutorial screen that explains you this specific feature. So that way you can be truly sure that people that want to have all the information as early as possible still can have it while not annoying the players, other players with a bazillion tutorials. Also, something I'm not sure that I will be able to reproduce in this recording. In my stream, I had a situation where I got a new dagger, and then of course you got the exclamation mark, as we have seen with the sword. And even though I clicked on the other dagger like multiple times and stuff like that, it took really long before the exclamation mark actually went away. That was really weird, and I don't know why. Yeah. Okay. So we are done with the shop for now. That one is not relevant for now, so let's talk a little bit about the skill tree. And while we're talking about the skill tree, I have a little bit of an issue with the name skill tree in itself, when basically every skill progression here is just a simple road. Like when I'm thinking of a skill tree, like instantly I'm like really like many branching paths. You could argue about, hey, you could in theory order these 4 aspects into one skill tree and everyone, and these are branching off and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it is a fairly simplified version, and a skill tree for me suggests something that is a bit more complex. It's not like the end of the world, but maybe you can really write it as skill roads or like just simple skill improvements or something like that. But that might really just be me, and no one else will actually care about that. So yeah. Something I think that would be cool, however, is that with a double click on a skill, I will be able to unlock that skill. Right now, I really have to go for the invest essence all the time, but like my first instinct when I was going into the game and I was able to upgrade stuff was double clicking here, and nothing happened, and that was sad. So yeah. I feel like enabling a double-clicking upgrade function would be a cool quality of life feature there. Yeah. Then we have the actual investment of essences. So this is something that will be a little bit difficult to show right now, because we only have so few essences. Maybe I'm able to do that? No. But we can basically show it here. So every time we press on invest essences, it is just starting to fill out essences, and the longer we hold, the more essences we are investing. Like with so few essences and the upgrades being so cheap, they happen instantly. But later on, and in situations like these, you are able to actually half invest into a skill. I am not a fan of it. Like, it happened to me actually multiple times that I was just pressing down, and I was realizing too late that the very last upgrade, I was not able to fully upgrade. But the essences were still invested, where in that case, I rather would have had the essences to upgrade something cheap in one of the other skill roads. But I was not able to do that anymore because of that. I think you can solve that by two ways. Either like way one is with the click and hold functionality, that it is only truly investing the essences when it is truly unlocking a new skill, or instead of having that click and hold functionality, you change it into button presses, and that way you don't have that partial investment anymore as well. Okay. I hope I can. Yeah, I should be able to show the exchange here real quick. So, exchange. Super simple. We have an exchange here, 2 to 1. We can change coins into essences or essences into coins. If we don't have the currency to exchange even once, and that applies to that line as well, then we have that colored square here that is a visual bug that has to be fixed. Also, I hope I'm able to do it here. Watch closely to the different button heights. Have you seen that small bump here? That just happened? Like, every time we are, like, pressing one of these buttons, and we are fully switching between them, the height of the boxes are slightly changing, which is a bit jarring and is something that has to be fixed, in my opinion. Okay. With that, we go into our second one, and hopefully we are able to then talk about the mountain problem, which is best shown if we reach another floor the first time. So we go here again. I will do the automatic mode again. And yeah, let's see if we are able to go down one floor now. So yeah, we should be fairly easily able to go to the next floor. Okay, so pay close attention what happens when we are reaching the next floor. Hey, we got a new recipe. Nice. Just now. Boom. We go down. And so basically we have a slight story issue here where we are supposed to conquer the mountain, but when I'm thinking of a mountain and conquering a mountain, I would instantly think that we are going up. Instead, we are going down. So it doesn't really give mountain vibes in that regard. So I think there are two ways to solve it. Either you change the animation so it is actually going up. That is one way, but that's probably the harder way to do. I think the easier way is honestly just changing the narrative slightly. Instead of conquering a mountain, we are conquering a cave, and then it would make more sense that we are actually going down and not up. So yeah. Right. Okay, so let me check my list real quick. What I am missing. We have talked about that. That is something I was not able to show yet, so that comes a little bit later. Yeah, that is for later as well. Okay. So yeah. think we actually need to have some upgrades before we can continue, or we actually have to go into manual mode right now, because like the automatic mode can only do so much, right? There are limits to that, which is fine. Like the automatic mode, of course, should not be like stronger than the actual manual mode. In either games, going manual should always be rewarded, so it's completely fine. This is the rigor way. Okay. Hey, we got a wood shield. Okay, that's what I need. So now we actually absolutely want to return to the hub. And we go to the shop. Okay, so we can equip these two. And there is something I want to talk about here, and that is the term absorb. So absorb in this game is basically just being a one-time hit immunity, which makes the term a little bit misleading. Because in other games that I know, absorb is usually not just simply like damage immunity, but it is actually like some kind of a drain. So you are actually healing up by the amount of damage you would normally receive, which is not the case here. So I think the term absorb is not super intuitive here. I would rather have it something like block, as it states here, blocks direct hits from enemies. So really just name a block, and I think this is way more intuitive to understand what it does. Okay, so we got these two, and with that we will now start playing a little bit manually. I will actually play with, wait, we can still go to the skill tree here and get some stuff. We go for the brutal strikes, and we go for the tough skin, yippee yay. Okay, challenge the mountain. Now we play manual. Super simple controls, you are just moving, quest happens itself. So, like, for some of the final talking points, we will most likely just go into the finish game. Although there is one thing that actually needs a new self fight to properly show. You can just enjoy the gameplay here a little bit. There's not really much to talk about right now. Just have to progress through certain stuff. Okay, King Slime incoming. Something I want to mention real quick, by the way. We now have the shield. I think the actual size of the shield is a bit comically large. I don't know if it is intended. Like, it's a personal taste, but I feel like I still want to see the fox a little bit more. And not just like having half shield. It doesn't matter that much for automatic mode, of course, because you are most likely not paying close attention to the screen anyway at this point. But when you're playing manual, I mean, it's not really hard to dodge the enemies. So, like, for a really long time, you are having this shield. So, we have unlocked the next floor, which actually is replenishing our life. and leads us to new enemies, which even more so give more of a cave vibe, because we are now like in some sort of a graveyard, which might as well just be a mausoleum or something like that. So yeah, this speaks even more for just stitching the mountain storytelling, and where we go for like a cave storytelling, in my opinion. Okay. Something that is not really visible right now is like you might wanna farm certain floors due to the challenges. And if you want to farm an early floor, you currently don't have a way to just restart the very same floor when you have finished the boss. It will always lead you into the next floor, even though you might not need the next floor for anything anymore. So that might be a nice quality of life feature, that you might be able to just really restart the same floor over and over again. Like right now you can only really do that with the very last floor, and that's it. And technically not even there you can do it right now in the playtest. Because what the playtest is doing after the second floor is putting you to the third floor, which is not a part of the playtest. So you're just in a room that says, yo, this is not part of the playtest. Do the other stuff on higher challenges, on higher difficulties. And then you still have your normal life timer, and you're just running out of time. Okay, we have blessings. Similar, like there are similar issues we have already talked about on other aspects. First thing is the click and hold, that it should rather be transparent here. And similar to the save slots, I would also suggest that all blessing buttons are on the same height. Right now, it can look messy again due to the different amounts of text lines the effects have. So I would just suggest putting every except blessing right at the bottom, and then you are completely safe. Weeper's Harvest, I think, was kinda cool. Upon killing, created damaging could have created to all universal frog need to kill. We can go for Trailblazer, I guess. Now we go to the challenges NPC. The challenges NPC is a bit weird. Okay, so what can we talk about the challenge NPC? First thing is the very existence of that NPC. It feels a bit redundant right now. Especially when you think about that with the blessings, you already have a functionality where you can claim stuff right after a run. And I don't really see a reason not doing that for challenges as well. Like, the only thing the NPC is currently having as an upside is that you can look into the next challenges in advance. But this is something that's easily solvable by a simple menu anyway. Like, you can just do like some sort of trophy button, and then you have an overview of that anyway. So I don't really see a reason for the challenge NPC right now. Okay. And this right here is another problem of the challenge NPC right now. For whatever reason, like most of the time when you're claiming a reward, it just puts you way down and you have to scroll up again. I have no idea why that happens. Like, sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does. It's really inconsistent, but it's not helping anyone. So yeah. Okay, we can equip the wood helmet and we can equip the wood totem. And we have this, then we upgrade this, this. Okay, I think we have everything. We can still do some upgrades here. Turning, quick step, sharp edge. Here, lucky find. Okay. So, we actually don't have that much to talk about anymore. So I'm actually a bit faster than expected. So, there's something about the blessings though. Right now, it is just part of the main menu and honestly looks a bit bare bones. Like, I'm wondering if instead you can also just add another button here that is shown in the hub where you get an overview about your blessings. Which you could also do for the equipment as well, which is not, which is all in the menu right now. Like, might be one way to separate it. Not that much needed to be fair, but yeah. I think personally it would be kinda nice. Okay. So let's do an automatic one on the higher difficulty right now. Floor 1 hard unlocked. In the meantime, I'm looking up what I am missing in stuff. Here's, by the way, something you might have seen about the interaction of the automatic AI with totems and other stuff that has like some sort of a range, a circle that you have to be in to activate. Right now tends to only go on the very edge where it is barely activatable and not going any deeper. Like sometimes it does, like here, but not always. And this can lead, this can seriously delay the activations of so many things. Like, even though I think the AI, of course, should not be like being better than a normal player or nearly equal to that, this is still something where I think the AI can actually improve. Okay. So there is really not much to talk about anymore. Like, most of the stuff will be something I have to show on later stages. Like, there's only really one thing I want to talk about. Hopefully we're able to show that. Like, I think for that I need a few manual ones actually to properly show it. Let's check. And we need to do the manual one now, because there is a certain challenge we are not supposed to complete yet in order to show that. But for that, we need to unlock the second floor first. And we should be able to unlock the second floor. Like, this setup was already able to nearly defeat King Slime already. So, going manual should be fairly easy then. Nice. So something you might want to pay attention here is the floor 1 Slayer challenge that is shown on the bottom right. This requires us to defeat a certain amount of enemies. So what I'm trying to achieve is that we are finishing the Slayer achievement on the hard difficulty for the for floor 2 before we do it on floor 1. And that's the reason why right now I really have to unlock floor 2 quickly so that we don't dabble in floor 1 anymore. Okay. Come on. Okay, wait. So we unlocked the next floor. Nice. So we obviously won't be able to finish that floor right now. Although we are not too far away, to be honest. Hey, we got a recipe. Nice. Yeah, we probably need another one. But not that much more, actually. I'm actually a bit irritated it shows me floor 2 Slayer normal instead of hard. That's a bit weird. Yeah, I'm not able to defeat him in time. Hey, we got another blessing. Nice. Mercy, enemies that hit you take damage. We take the second wood, I guess. So, Floor Guardian, hard. Normal. Wow, it even goes that far, huh? So, I really haven't unlocked the other floor yet? Floor 1 Extreme unlocked. Ah, because I haven't defeated that one yet. I see. Okay, so we have to do a little bit of a workaround here. So we have that. Then we have that. Here, say problem, click and hold, overlay. That. Thank you. This one is unavailable. Sadness. Ah. This time it worked directly. Nice. Wait, is that true? Oh. So we go for that. Then we go for that. And then I guess we go for that and do auto. Because I can, in the meantime, just simply talk about what I want to convey. So right now, there is a certain sequence you have to adhere to when completing the challenges. You always have to complete floor 1 challenges first before you can claim the floor 2 challenges. You can already finish them and they are shown in your challenges, but you cannot claim them before you haven't claimed the appropriate challenge of the floor beforehand. And I don't really see the reason for that. I don't really see why that has to be a thing. Just let me sequence break that. Like, especially because something I noticed in the higher difficulties is that the Slayer... Yeah, it absolutely needs a bigger weapon. The Slayer weapon, the Slayer achievement in particular, is actually easier on the higher floors because there are simply more enemies spawning. So you have a better shot at getting them. So yeah, I don't really see why I really have to do every challenge on floor 1 before I can do the challenge on floor 2 beforehand. Or like claim the challenge on floor 2. Okay. So our setup should be good enough now that we can defeat floor 2 here. I mean, I also really want to show the floor 3 playtest room. And I think the rest we are just quickly doing on the final, on the advanced save slot. It's not really that much that we have to talk about. And I want to keep it a bit more concise here. Also, it's getting really late here. But I was not really seeing another opportunity recording that. Okay. So elusive, man. With the recipe though? Yes, please. Thank you. Come on. Ah, yeah. Second wouldn't serve me here. Nice. Okay, and that is floor 3. I personally would wish that the playtest isn't just probably ending in run on game 2 and is giving me a message there. Like, I mean, it's kinda cool we get the new area already and the music, but it kind of feels very unsatisfying this way, in my opinion. So, yeah. And then we just end one, and that's it. So yeah, that's kinda dumb. Okay. So Frog Guardian, Heart Slayer. That's not what we want to have. Like, you can already see it here. The floor 2 Slayer challenge is not even shown here. But you will notice when I'm entering the floor 2 on hard difficulty, we can already progress there. That Bone Totem, by the way, is sick. I love that totem. It's so good. Doing like these 8 spikes. It's really, really fun. Quick step, fancy footwork, yeah, I don't know. This, I guess. Okay, and then we go here, we go into hard difficulty. Thank you very much. And then we can just play auto. Ah yeah, we got the Fire Exploder. Fire Exploder is fun. Look at this guy. Loving that dude. So yeah, and this is what I mean. You can already see the floor 2 Slayer heart here, and we can also already just complete the challenge, but we cannot claim it beforehand, and I don't know why. Just let me sequence break the challenges there. There's no harm in that. Like the way the shared weapon trains are designed, you still want to have the earlier weapons anyway because you want to have the milestones. So it's not even like that you are completely skipping weapons in this game due to how the shared weapon stats work. So let me just get the floor 2 item beforehand. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the weapons in general. We have 6 different weapons. 2 we can try out, yes, the stab and the bow. But we have a dagger, we have a sword, we have a spear, and we have an axe we can try. Dagger is short and fast. Sword is wide and a little bit slower. Spear is long, pointy, so not a huge wide area, but fast. And axe is around the complete character, like 1 circle, which honestly makes it like the most varied weapon out of the 4 we can already try out. Like, right now the weapons do feel fairly samey, except for the axe. The axe is really interesting in general because, in my experience, it seems to be the best weapon for the auto mode. Because of the AoE effect, you can get in situations where, in theory, the character is stuck again. Because enemies are coming from all sides, but because you are hitting enemies on every side, you can actually get unstuck there because you are just defeating all enemies, and then suddenly auto can decide again where to go. Like, this is, in fact, this might be in fact so good that the weapon description of an axe might actually even be worth having a hint that says auto love this weapon. But this might just be this might just be considered for me. It's a bit of a shame we can't see the book and the staff right now, because I have a hunch that these are the weapons that most likely will feel the most unique because they are ranged weapons instead of all the melee weapons we have at our disposal right now. So yeah, that's a bit rough, but okay, nothing we can do about it. Yeah. We actually don't even need to go into the high-end stuff because I only have one talking point. And that is the health of the king slimes of the highest difficulty. And this is something we can't really show on the other save file that way anyway because it's already overpowered. I personally feel that the health of the king slimes, so from the floor 1 boss, on the highest difficulty is not high enough. I think they can be sturdier. Yes, it's floor 1, but it is on the other side still extreme, so make it a challenge. Like extreme wide now, at least for floor 1, feels too easy. So, yeah. Okay. We will still wait out that we have completed that one challenge here. We are already doing some progress. And then we can call it a day with the playtest of Conquest in a more summarized form, which still is clocking at way over an hour. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to talk about. But technically, I was still almost half of the time, so yeah. Okay. So, come on, defeat more enemies. Do it for me! Ah, shame. I'm gonna do one manual run. Just so we can progress faster. Ah, we can use the arrow keys as well. I was actually not trying it out before. Like, the tutorial is always telling you about WASD, but arrow keys work just fine. I mean, now that I'm saying this, if I remember correctly, in the settings, the arrow keys are actually mentioned. So, I should not be surprised, actually. Yeah, and this is why I think the Bone Totem is so satisfying. Like, because it is, like, all these bones are piercing, it is so fucking satisfying. Because you are just hitting all the stuff. And it is bouncy on top. And it does a considerable amount of damage. Like, these Bone Totems are just doing everything. Like, look at this. Oh, sleep. Yeah, we most likely only need that one run. I think. Okay. 100 enemies left. Ooh, we lost our shield. I'm actually playing badly right now. Being a bit too aggressive. Second round, yeah! Come on. Okay. So as you can see, we have defeated the Slayer challenge for hard. And I will not be able to cash it in on the challenge NPC. Dead. It's not even shown here that it is unlocked. And yeah, when we are here, nothing. And only if we have claimed the floor 1 on hard difficulty, then afterwards it is shown. It's not even enough that we have simply unlocked it. It really has to be claimed, and then it is instantly shown afterwards. So, yeah. That's it for Conquest for now. If you want to see some more of the late game, let's say late game, you can still look into the original WOD. There I basically have done every challenge on every difficulty, and I'm also way more advanced in the skill tree, and all the stuff is more upgraded and stuff like that. But like, for the matter of this playtest feedback, it's not really showing anything relevant anymore. So I would do a cut here, and I hope that this playtest and all the feedback is helping, and we'll see us with the next playtest then here on YouTube. Or, well, probably it will be a speedrun actually beforehand. So, well, with that, there's only one thing left to say, and that'll see ya.